Hi there, and welcome back to another Papetti Math YouTube video tutorial where I am going to be teaching you Algebra 1. Now, we're in exercise number 5 now of the lesson on piecewise functions, which says, over the summer, Ryder works as a lifeguard. He gets paid at a rate of $15 per hour. If Ryder works over 40 hours in a week, he gets paid 1.5 times his hourly rate for each additional hour worked. Write a piecewise function to represent Ryder's weekly pay W of x in terms of the number of hours worked x. Okay, so this one might seem a little bit simple, but there's a lot to this one. What do I mean by that? Well, let's see. We know it's going to be W of x. We'll get the easy stuff out of the way. Is equal to curly bracket. Okay. Now we're going to have two different functions here. And our first function is going to be, he gets paid at a rate of $15 per hour. Boom, look at that, $15 per hour, easy as that. Now our second function, on the other hand, is going to be a little bit more difficult because this says he gets paid 1.5 times his hourly rate for each additional hour worked. How can we figure that out? Because your initial reaction might be to say, okay, well, multiply 15 times 1.5, and you get 22.5, and that's how much you're making per hour. But if we put an x there, that's going to say how much he made every hour. And he didn't make $22.50 every hour. Only the number of hours over 40, he made $22.50. So we can't write that. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to represent this by saying, okay, for any number of hours over 40. So if he worked 41 total hours, it would be 41 minus 40, which would give you 1 hour at $22.50 an hour. If he worked 50 hours, you'd do 50 minus 40, and that's 10 total hours above 40 hours. So we're subtracting 40 from the number of hours. So that would give us our time he made in overtime, but it wouldn't include the 40 hours he worked earning $15 an hour. So again, when he works for 40 hours, he makes $15 an hour. So if he works for full 40 hours, we do 40 times 15, and we get 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 4 is 20, and then we're going to get 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 4 is 4, and he's going to make $600 if he works 40 hours a week. So this is the amount he'll make in overtime, plus the $600 he would have made in the 40 original hours. Does that make sense? I'll say it one more time. So maybe this different way of explaining it will help you. Now, in our first equation, we're using x as the number of hours worked, the total number of hours, not the number of overtime hours, but just the number of hours. So he makes $15 for every hour he works. Then in this second equation, he makes $22.50 because that's 1.5 times 15. So he makes $22.50 any number of hours over 40. But remember, we're using x, which represents the total number of hours worked. So if he works 60 hours in a week, how many of those hours are overtime? How many hours over 40 is 60? And that's 20. And how do you get 20? Well, 60 minus 40. So any number over 40, you're going to subtract 40 from it to get the number of overtime hours. So that's why we do x minus 40 there. But again, if he works 41 hours, for example, and you put a 41 in this problem, and you do 41 minus 40 and get 1 hour, this function without the 600 on it is going to say that he only makes $22.50 working 41 hours. But that's not true because we have to account for the $600 he makes working 40 hours at the original rate. I hope that makes sense. So this is, like I said in the very beginning of this problem, this is a tricky problem. So the last thing we need to do is put in our intervals. So he's going to make $15 an hour, working anywhere from 0 to 40 hours. And he's going to make the overtime if he works over 40 hours. So anything over 40 hours, he'll make this crazy piece of the function. So let's go on to part B now, using this function. How much money will Ryder make if he works 36 hours in 1 week? justify your answer. Justify, let's show math work in our answer. So if he works 36 hours a week, the first question that we ask ourselves is 30 between 0 and 40, or is 36 greater than 40? 36 is between 0 and 40, so we're going to use this function right here. We're going to use W of 36 is equal to 15 times 36. So we're going to get 15 times 36 is 540. So just this right here is enough justification. So he'll make $540 working 36 hours. Okay. How many hours did Ryder work if he earned $870 for the week? Explain how you determined your answer. Well, if we're looking at this, we already determined that if he works 40 hours, he's going to make $600. So if he makes $870 in the week, he's got to be working more than 40 hours. So we're going to be using this equation down here. So we're going to be using 22.5 times x minus 40 plus 600. And using that equation, he's going to be making $870. So let's go ahead and solve this. I'll subtract 600 from both sides. I'll be left with 22.5 times x minus 40. And that's going to be equal to 270. Now I'm going to actually divide by 22.5. On both sides. And I'm going to have x minus 40 is equal to 12. I get as my answer when I divide those. And finally, I'll add 40. And I'm going to get x is equal to 52. So if Ryder made $870 for the week, he worked 52 hours. And it says to explain how you determined your answer. Well, if we work backward and think about everything I was saying in the very beginning, that's how we determined our answer. I saw that $870 was more than 600, and we knew that 600 was the amount he made in 40 hours. So if he made $870, I had to use my second equation. So I set my second equation equal to 870 and solved. That's my explanation right there. So this brings us to the end of exercise number 5 in piecewise functions, and also the end of this lesson. And you're now ready for the final lesson in this chapter, which deals with step functions, which are a kind of piecewise function as well. So I hope this video was helpful, and let me know that it was helpful by giving it a thumbs up below. And thank you for watching.